session for a 2 hour session, 3 to 5 o'clock. And this will be a recorded session. So I will also be sharing this with you all so that you can go back and also see things which you missed on that. I think over to you, Shubi. And mean also, how do you want? I just want to set the rules a little bit. That do you want the Q&A in the end, or is it okay in between?
Completely, it should be.
Completely.
Yeah. So let me just put that across.
So like some do's and don'ts, how for this.
I
Request everybody to put their mobiles on silence.
after 10 minutes, they anyways will.
Okay. So,
I'm telling you, this is the experience of all these. So I've done many of these, and easily some around 50 of these workshops. And the larger experience has always been after 10-15 minutes when you truly get to understand what's really happening. Silence sort of descends into the room anyway. So I really want that to not happen. So this is the flow here. Let me start with that. This is what we are going to do in the 2 hours that we are together, right? We'll start with a little quiz because I come from a quizzing background, so I really enjoy quizzical form of interaction. And then I'll tell you a small story, and then there'll be a lot of demos, right? Because when you really see things, it really comes home for you. So, and this demo is customized to the response sheet which you all have had filled. These are the kind of responses that you had given. This is what you wanted to learn. What we'll also do is time to time. So we'll do one demo and then we will also have some videos, some media to sort of really convey home the point to you. This is in fact just me and Sashi. We were having this discussion earlier, just 5 minutes back. So AI is not about some very smart tools which can help you make a presentation or data analysis or make a photo, song, movie. And we'll do all of that. We'll do all of that. My whole goal is for you to understand that this is a layer of intelligence which is being built. It's in its infancy right now. I'll say maybe 1 year back it was infancy. Now it's the teenage of AI. Very soon we'll have the mature phase of AI where it will largely be as intelligent as we are. And then it will not stop there. It will keep growing. It will grow more intelligent than us. How do we prepare for the kind of a world? And there's a place where all of you in the room will become very, very important. The work which you do in the area of social impact, livelihood, it becomes super, super crucial. So we'll also try to dwell quite a lot on that. Also, while this is a guardrail on which we'll be doing a lot of the discussion, but it's also possible we might not be able to finish all of this, which is completely okay. So feel free that throughout, because the big goal is for you to see, you can see a lot of YouTube videos and learn all of this also. But the fact that I'm here and I have been into AI for a very long time now. So the idea is for you to really get some of your core concerns and queries answered. Because somewhere or other you also go to the ground and face real people, right? People who perhaps have never heard about AI. So you should have your concerns and concepts very clear on what AI is and what more importantly is what AI is going to be. These are the two big things. Yeah, and to start with, this is supposed to be a legal disclaimer that I am supposed to start with. And as you go and talk to the communities and you'll be working with AI, see, I can make a bet to you that in a year's time, you will be working very closely with AI. It's almost like a no-brainer. It's almost like saying that when bullock carts were there and suddenly when more evolved vehicles came, people transfer to that or not? Obviously they did. It's a no-brainer kind of a thing. When calculator came, you started using it, right? In the same way, AI will become part of literally everything that you do on a daily basis. I think easily you'll be using AI for 4 or 5 hours, if not more. So this is something is important, that the fair and ethical use of AI, because AI can be used in very, very bad ways. And that is again something which is should be on top of your mind. You are the people who influence policies. So you can think whatever areas of engagement that you are in, whether it's health, livelihood, gender, how do you really think of the ethical usage of AI in each of those use cases? And obviously that's a very big field. We will not discuss much about it. The other thing is, we'll be learning a lot of interesting stuff today. You can also use it for bad purposes. Don't blame me if you do that. And that is something, it's almost a concern of whoever is teaching AI to anyone, because there's just ramification of it is so, it's very difficult to predict what people can do with AI. So that's something that's, especially if you are reaching out to youngsters, keep this in mind, that this is one of the prominent thing you have to tell them first. Quickly about me, from Calcutta, and I have worked in various organizations. For close to 12 years, I have been working very closely in the intersection of business and technology. So Amol, Wipro, Quantum was this stint where I learned ethnography and qualitative research. So it makes me semi-qualified to, come and talk in a room like this where you have social professionals here. But I'm from IRMA, so obviously all my life I have always been in very close touch with the social sector. Um, and my firm is called Future Labs, where my goal is to enable abundance. That's the goal with which I'm working. I'll decrypt that as we go. What do we really mean by abundance, and why I'm saying that we'll enable it for a country like India. So this would be one of the premise of our session today. Four things which I think AI enables. You know,
No, that's fine.
yeah,
Fine.
Our session.
I'm not unmuted.
Mute for you would be आवाज ले रहे हैं तो मूवी सुन पाएंगे
Acha,
you have to unmute.
I have to mute myself.
Unmute.
I have to unmute myself.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. Quite a lot of demand for AI in the office, yeah. So which is good. Nice.
That's the power of AI, because when I was at HR, you say that other environment. You know, after that, I said this is something really love make.
Yeah, it will. It will.
It clicked.
Yeah. And you can be sure of that. After 2 hours from now, when you walk out of this room, you'll have a lot of stuff you can just use right away. Which is a good thing about AI.
Yeah, make us.
So this slide is more a train the trainer kind of a thing, and I'm intentionally doing it because again, you're in a sector where I know that you're in touch with so many people. With AI, I think one of the most powerful thing that you need to keep in mind always is that the story piece of AI has to be prominent, which is what is missing largely. One of the reasons why I had to literally build a company, because I realized that people should talk about AI in more of a story format. I mean, you can't start with saying deep learning, neural network, and machine learning and all that. Doesn't make sense. So I'll try to tell you the story of AI, what AI is all about. How does it really stick to your mind in ways you can really absorb it, and then how can we have? And we'll start with some creative exercises so that we can start having fun with AI first, because that's usually a good way to start learning about AI. Some influence of AI in design is what we'll also talk about. And the last one is just, very nice, happy quote. So I put it there to complete the quadrangle. Okay, so that was my, lecture piece. Now this is the workshop, right? So this is a very simple question to start with. As in quizzing circles, we call it a sit-up, which is like, you can easily, very quickly answer this question. So this is something which is 2% of your body, and it consumes 20% of all the energy, which
Brain.
It's the brain. Yeah, it's the brain. Do you know whose brain this is? This is Einstein's brain, one of those brains which we have preserved. Also in quizzing, we have a culture that when we ask a question, we also have a connect. So you don't ask a random question. So you ask a series of questions, and there's a reason why you are asking this question. There's a longer connect piece of it. These are all related, whatever I'm telling you. So this is the second question here. It's a visual. Okay, how many of you have seen this before? This video? No? Okay, so this robot that you saw, it's called AstriBot, just because I had to put it give it a quizzical angle. Any of you know what the meaning of Astri is? What does Astri stand for? With planets, because astrology, yeah, makes sense. It's a good, we call that cracking our question. So you're almost there. So Astri means star. And so that's why astronomy, when you measure stars, it's called astronomy. And when you study it, it's called astrology. This is called AstriBot because one of the purpose of building robots is so that it can go to the stars, right? So a very smart person is putting almost all his resources right now to build very smart robots called Optimus. Would you know which company this is? Tesla. Almost the entire company is now pivoting into building robots. Then just 2 days back, there's this company called Figure Robotics, which introduced their Figure 0.2, which is the newest version which they have launched. And for them, all of these companies, see, robotics has been there for a very long time, right? So many movies we saw in our childhood where some robots are moving around. There was the one big problem why robots could not develop. It was because it was easy to get the exoskeleton correct, but how do you get the brain correct? So that was a limitation, right? So my first question was about the brain. Now, thankfully, we're moving to a world where we are literally building brains, and we are building brains which potentially today is almost as smart as the human brain is, and will exceed that. So the missing piece was the brain. So now we have exoskeleton, and reason why so many companies are now trying to make robots. And so this Figure Robotics, they have ChatGPT as the brain. They have that as the LLM. So you can literally think of a robot as a combination of this body and a brain, and a brain is the LLM, large language model, about which we'll be talking today. That what that brain is, how it really works. Yeah. And you can also imagine that so you would have heard of this fact, right? That the cost of intelligence is coming down significantly. It's also very important for us to know that at least all of us in this room, the only economic value which we bring to the society is the brains, the intelligence which we bring on the table. With LLMs progressing the way they are, that cost is going to go down. And we thought it would be limited to that. But the moment you put robotics into the picture, and robotics is something which is almost like, robots will be able to make robots. It's very obvious, right? The moment that happens, there's no limit to how many robots there will be in the on the planet. So which also means the cost of manual labor is also going to significantly go down. So all of you working in the field of livelihood, people working with involved with any sort of that entire cohort which is into manual labor, we also have to now start thinking, and we are talking about this 4-5 years from now. It's not very far away. So this was by China, AstriBot, and China has one of the highest number of robotics companies apart from US. Unfortunately, in India we don't have a lot of them. Okay.
So just one question, because of the context that you
Sure.
provided.
Sure.
In a country like India, when you talk about abundance of robots in the next 4-5 years, especially taking more manual tasks, is that a prudent step for the economy at large, given that we have a demographic which is increasingly out of jobs and unemployment is high? So how do you juxtapose that with the fact that we need more robots? Do we really need more robots? That is my question.
Fair question. And see, I said that there will be billions of robots on the planet. I think the governments will decide which country gets to have how many of them. For example, our own road minister, highway minister, Mr. Gadkari, he has said that he will not allow driverless cars to ply on the Indian roads. So I think the decision will always remain with the country. Obviously, for a country like ours, if we have, let's say, very, very cheap manual labor, then what happens to the working class who are real human manual laborers? So I think that's a big policy debate that's on the cards. And I think a very, very good.
One of the visuals which really disturbed me was when the robot was also drawing and painting. And concerned about what will happen to you?
Okay, so I see, because we are also, and it's natural to get concerned. If you see something like that for the very first time, it's very natural to get concerned. We'll also dwell quite a bit on why we should not really be concerned about this, but maybe try to embrace it in such a way that it actually can serve the larger good. So that is a discussion which we'll get into a little later into the workshops.
But I disagree little bit here. Rajat. So I think few months back I was reading Noah Harari.
Yeah.
So he has written very beautifully that now if the way AI is progressing, so maybe you gave the example of Tesla.
Correct.
So at one side he is making so much robots, and on another side he comes to the forums and he criticizes the AI that it may be dangerous. So the
Yeah,
point is that
correct.
tomorrow if somebody is sitting in America, a chip could be fixed in our mind, your mind, and the army and all these things will be managed by one person. This is quite possible in coming few years if the way.
In fact, that was my next question. But the chip piece.
So the brain we had.
Yeah, correct.
So now come to the government point. See, we are living in a globalized world, right? And there are many things which governments are not able to decide.
Correct.
So there are many other things,
Correct.
market forces and all these things. So I don't know, this is very messy situation. This is not only government.
So one of the things, I'll quickly because the questions you have asked, I can easily take an hour to answer of this like a lot of them. So one thing which you should be aware of, especially being a development professional. So there's this thing called sovereign AI. Yeah, it's an idea which UAE has fully embraced. Singapore has fully embraced. In fact, there's a list of countries on AI readiness. Singapore and UAE both come in top 5. India happens to be at 47 in that list of global. So we are not too bad, but not too good given the size of our economy. So see, we will have allies which will be working very, very closely with the government, almost in the capacity of an advisor and having access to amount of data which a human cannot have. That is going to happen. Just before that, you had this question about these chips, right? So I think I would have come to this a little later, but because you asked it, I'm answering this now. So there's this entire field of research called super alignment, right? And what Elon Musk is trying to do, and not just Elon Musk, everybody, Sam Altman or Satya Nadella, pretty much everybody, Sundar Pichai for that matter, everybody today in every AI lab, you have a team which is called the alignment team. And their core goal is, think of it like this. Like I said that AI initially last year was an infant, today is a teenager. I have a 4-year-old daughter. Right now, my core goal is to align her to the world. That's what we do. That's what schools are for. Our kids, born super wild, and sometimes they can go into directions which is harmful for them because they don't know, right? So one of the things which we have in AI is called hallucination, right? Which is AI just pretending that it knows the answer. Isn't this exactly how our kids also behave? Ask any 4-year-old a question. Will an 4-year-old tell you, "Mujhe nahi pata"? No. Mujhe sab pata hai. This is how kids behave, right? So AI is exactly in that mode. So this alignment team, what it's trying to do is, which is what Elon Musk is saying, that if you don't align it, it can just go in ways. So there are a lot of memes around this, and sometimes it's very easy to understand reality using a meme, right? Youngsters here will really relate to that. So it's called the paperclip maximizer meme. Okay, and it's good for you to understand this because it's one of the most prominent jokes in AI circle that we have a very intelligent AI and we gave it a simple task कि आपको पेपर क्लिप बनाना है, ठीक है? तो स्टार्ट हो गया, पेपर क्लिप बनाया उसने, जितनी फैक्ट्री में जितनी आयरन थी, जितनी एल्युमिनियम थी, सबका पेपर क्लिप बना दिया. बट उसका गोल तो सिंपल था, पेपर क्लिप बनाना. तो realize, you know what, humans also have iron in their body in the RBCs. So let's pick that up and we make paper clip out of that because their goal is very simple, no? That they have to make paper clips. They are innocent like children. But how do you know कि humans को मार के तोड़ के paper clip नहीं बनाना? इतनी जरूरत नहीं paper clip की. So this is called alignment. I gave a very simple example for this, but pretty much every big AI lab today is working on alignment, and this alignment research is very important. Because how do you tame this wild intelligence which is coming? Anyways, this is my last question. So this is a gentleman called Nolan Arbaugh, and he recently wrote a tweet which says that Twitter banned me because it's not coming here for some reason. It's coming here, but it's not coming on the screen. Can we have the person from the? It's coming here, all right. Is there a way?
Screen sharing mode and then do it again.
Much like that.
Still आप भी कर सकते हो।
मैं ट्राई कर रहा हूँ वहाँ पे स्पीड में आ रहा है मैं सुन रहा था तभी
बट
आया।
यहाँ नहीं आ रही एक बार जस्ट देखिए
नहीं शेयर करूँ एक बार
फिर से करूँ
यहाँ से हटा नहीं होगी
it's the problem is here because shall we go back? This is fine. ये तो आ रही है but I think it's the TV वाला thing which is a problem. I think that's the one. एक बार उसको बंद करके it is fine. एक बार just stop this display altogether.
इतने आपने जैसे रोबोट बनाना है
मेरे जैसे मत बनाइए मैम प्लीज
Okay, so jab tak let's use time because we have a ton of things to cover. So jab tak he's helping us with this. So let me tell you the story of AI which I had promised, right? It's a very simple story, right? And it has to do with this iconic thing called Apple. And I'm saying this name because you'll remember this story. Apple logo has the Apple built in, right? Do you know why that is the case? And why Apple more Apple like, yeah? Okay, that's a good guess. Good guess. Steve Jobs, a very close friend, or actually it's not a friend, but somebody he really look up to and admire. That person's name was Alan Turing. He's also a philosopher. If he would have studied philosophy, he would definitely have studied about Alan Turing. So Alan Turing was a computer scientist, and the logo is dedicated because Alan Turing had to commit suicide because of the policy in UK which didn't allow homosexuals to openly work for government, and so they gave him some medicine which sort of really made him very disturbed, and he got into depression and unfortunately ended up committing suicide. He was one of the brightest genius we had in the world. So during his working life, he came up with this very bold hypothesis. Because a lot of the computing work happened in UK initially. If you would have heard of this gentleman called Charles Babbage, Lady Ada Lovelace, these are all people from UK, right? Who initially built the analytical engine. So the first, forget about this. We'll continue with the story. This is an important story that you should know. Computers was largely known, and even today we think of computers as something which can help us with analytics. It can take large amount of data, work on that data, give us quick answers. That's the imagination of computers, right? That is an analysis engine. Alan Turing, he literally wrote a research paper. In fact, there's a movie called The Imitation Game where you have Benedict Cumberbatch playing Alan Turing. Do watch that movie, it's a good one. So he said, why can't computers think? Pretty much. In fact, that was the whole point of his research paper. There's an actual research paper where his first line is, can computers think? Another is, can machines think? Right? So because he came up with this question and he realized very quickly that this is really possible. Machines can actually think, and for you to think, you first have to learn. Right? That's how it happens to us, no? Initially we learn. We go to school, we go to class 10, 12, we learn enough, then we are able to think. So this whole idea of machines that can learn gave rise to this entire field of study called machine learning. Because the whole idea was that machines could learn, right? So this is how the story started for us. And then there was this gentleman sitting in Canada. Again, there's something strange about legends of AI. That they have some sort of a unique physical differentiation compared to other people. So this gentleman can't sit. He stands. All his life he has stood. So he can't travel on a plane also. He's called Geoffrey Hinton, is called the godfather of AI. So he came up with this idea that while we have machine learning and machine learning is largely about having its large amount of data. Let's say you show 1 million picture of cat to the computer, and then computer will eventually realize that if you show the computer one photo, whether it's a cat or not, yes or no. So that's machine learning. Give a large amount of data, it will be able to make sense of that data, draw a pattern in the data. That's machine learning. Now, Geoffrey Hinton thought that if machines can learn, and it is somewhat working like the human brain also, can I really replicate the human brain inside a machine, right? So in fact, let me show some slides to you also now that we have fixed. So this really, sort of, it will drive home. So this gentleman, I'm so sorry, what happened? Oh boy. Okay. I doubt. Yeah, we are back. Good. So this is Mr. Turing. Yeah, and he proposed this entire question of can machines think? This is a research paper called Computing Machinery and Intelligence. Yes, he also came up with this whole idea of a Turing, which is one of the most critical piece of information which you need to know right now. So in fact, we have a good room here. So imagine in this room, I'm sitting here, I'm a professor, and we have these two windows. In one window, there's a robot sitting, and one there's a human sitting. Turing said that time will come when I will be interacting with both, and you will not know who is human, who is robot. That's the Turing test. Once it's passed, a lot of people are saying Turing test has been passed, by the way. That we have machines which are smarter than humans or as equal to human. So, and this is where Geoffrey Hinton came in, So he said that, we are intelligent because we have this very high density of neurons in our brain, the neural network inside the head. School wali aapko yaad hogi, neurotransmitter, then you have these neurons, one signal happening from one place to another. He said, why don't we replicate this inside a machine, right? So he built something like this. So from machine learning, he proposed this topic of deep learning. You would be hearing all these terms, right? Very, very frequently now. So I hope you understood machine learning, which is like, large amount of data, it can make sense of it, just making machines think. And then one layer next to that. So you create this artificial brain, so to say, exactly like a neural network. You have an input layer, you have an output layer, and there are in between many other layers which do some processing of information. We'll not get into that. So this thing is also called a deep neural network. It's called deep because there's no limit to how many layers you can put. The deeper it is, the better, more stronger it is, more intelligent it is, as we call it, right? Reason why it's called deep learning. So it's an offshoot of machine learning. If you have understood till here, I think you'd be pretty much on top of charts of computer science knowledge here, because a lot of people don't get this. In this input layer, you can put things and you get an output, right? So if in this input layer, imagine you put lot of language, lot of text, lot of images, lot of audio, lot of video. In fact, you can just put the entire world of text and video, whatever is there in the world, right? So in the input layer, if you put a very large amount of language, it's called a large language model, LLM, which is ChatGPT, which is Gemini, which is Llama. So that's what large language model is. It's a form of deep learning. This is deep neural network. Here, if you put a lot of language, text data, so take this example. Entire world of internet, complete data. You put all of that and you just put a simple executable file, and that's a large language model. So large language model is a type of deep learning. It's an application of deep learning. So this is good enough technical knowledge for you to sort of, really work with stuff. And the other piece, because we are telling this story, this is somebody mentioned Harari, so this comes from his book Sapiens. So we have had some major revolutions in the society, starting with fire, which is called the cognitive revolution. Any idea why fire is related to cognitive revolution? Again, a good brain teaser, good for you to know. Any guesses?
Sparks and yes.
Skill used and.
So basically, with fire, what happens is you can cook your food, and because you cook your food, you digest it faster, you get energy faster. So your brain is able to spend time on thinking. Otherwise, it was just about digesting only. So one of the most pivotal moments in human history, fire led to blooming of intelligence. Then that intelligence led to farming, because you realize that we can't keep moving around as a hunter-gatherer, which is what happens with tribal population also, right? Eventually, they graduate to farming populations. So farming happened, and because of farming, we got something from agriculture. It became culture, writing, reading, art, all of that. So we eventually developed the printing press. From there, we went to build steam engines, then electricity, internet. These are all general purpose technologies. The meaning of a general purpose technology is it affects everyone, right? Now, all the general purpose technology, they were incremental. They were adding some incremental value to you as a person, right? Or as a society. Here, as we said, we are having a new general purpose technology called generative pre-trained transformer called GPT. In a simple word, it's a very big brain. That's the best way to understand it. And this is what this new general purpose technology is going to do. So for the first time in human history, and this is why you see all the panic, all the fear, all the hype, because it's the first time we'll go through an exponential curve. Literally the first time ever in human history. It's strange how we get to be the generation who will get to witness that. And all of us will get to witness in the next 10 years. Or 5 years. It's exponential. But this is how exponentials look like. Because see, it started here. It didn't start here. It started there. Just the exponential piece, the vertical piece of the curve is coming. And I think this is also a good way to sort of, encapsulate it in your brain, that whatever knowledge, wisdom that you see in AI, it is essentially the wisdom of our ancestors. Because literally it's been trained on all the current knowledge that we have, right? Again, this graph, sorry, I get into this other story because of the computer failure sometime, but let's complete this section. So this is how, there was a long period of time when we used to call AI winters. AI में कुछ नहीं हो 1950 से लेके 2010 तक nothing was happening in AI. Everybody used to call it a dud science. Even computer science students used to sort of not take it because पैसे नहीं मिलेंगे, job नहीं मिलेगा कोई. Obviously now it is just the other way around. So it went through this phase, and today it is somewhere here like a dumb human, but pretty soon it will be like an Einstein level intelligence, and then things go really crazy from there. So let me stop the story with this one last slide, that the new generation doesn't know what life was like before internet. Some of you in the room might relate to that. But the generation that we are talking about now will not know a world before AI. So the reason why we have to sort of build into AI, build a lot of AI related stuff. So now we'll straight go to demos. So we'll just go to the presentation flow. Just a moment. I'll skip a few things because we're also keeping in the time in handy. Okay, let me start with this. Any of you know coding? Slightly also, thoda bahut. Kabhi school mein basic programming sikha, DOS sikha. You know coding, right? So let's start with a small demo. So it's being said that English is the new coding language, right? Why is it being said that? If you know English, you're good enough. You can just code. So I have given it a simple instruction that make a rendering of a cruising through space. This is a LLM called Cloud. It is really, really good when it comes to coding, right? So the moment I've given it an instruction, it is saying I'll create a HTML file and a D3.js, which is a coding language. So now it has started coding for you. If you are and I have not given it something which is very easy. So to create this, it's literally, it's like literally space. It would have taken quite a bit of time to do this kind of graphics. It would have, if you look at the number of code which is just able to write here, quite a bit of it. Yeah. And this is complex coding. So even for an experience, let's say if I go to IIT and ask a computer science graduate to write this, it will take him time to come up with something like this. Now it is able to do this in seconds because it's just been trained on vast amount of data. And also because I am starting with coding because, coding is very algorithmic. It's very logical. Unlike human language, which is, I'm not saying it's illogical, but there's a lot of emotion, a lot of, coding is pure just code. So it can do something like this. I'll also give you one more example. And this time more from let's say the human side, the artistic side. Take up the role of an art critic and tell me the prominent form of painting in every country in the world, and make a website about it so I can navigate it easily and understand the information in a LE5 format. Do you know what is a LE5 format? Have you heard this word before? ALI5. Explain like I'm a 5-year-old. Trust me, you'll be using this word every day from now because I do. Any of you have heard of this professor called Richard Feynman?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he used to say that unless you can explain something to a 5-year-old, you really don't understand that. You're just making it up. You've mugged it up. So use this a lot with different AI because the whole goal is that the best part of AI is personalized learning. And this technology was never available before. So just simplify it, make it in a language. So I haven't done a lot of sessions with school kids, college kids. They say, I want to understand this in the form of a hip hop song. And AI can do that. Yeah. So this customization, this personalization of learning is something which is very powerful and we should really make good use of it. So let's see what it does. I've right now given it a very simple instruction while it is generating, and it is generating this very fast. So this is now writing entire website. Yeah. So different painting style, United States, France, Japan. So let it do its work. The other advice which I have for all of you is, so this is something which I have always handy for myself. So this is like a series of prompts. I call them power prompts, and this is for learning. It could be learning anything. Now let me show you what I can quickly do with it. So I copy this entire thing, right? And I come to ChatGPT, and this is something almost like a knowledge repository which I have built for myself over the months, right? So I will say, I am conducting an AI workshop at Access Development Services. It's a non-profit based out of Delhi, India. And then I say research about on the internet and find more details. Yeah. Now I need to give a list of power prompts to the employees of Access so they can use it in their day-to-day work. Here is a list of prompts to serve as a template and example. Now give me another set customized to the organization. Take up the role of a prompt engineering expert. Yeah. So, imagine, one example which I can give you is normally when you buy a refrigerator, washing machine, it comes with an instruction manual, correct? And you have to read the instruction manual, you figure out if you get stuck. This is the first technology ever created where you don't really need a instruction manual because it itself is a manual. So you can just ask it, tell me how you work. As simple as that. It's literally as simple as that. So now I have given it a lot of prompts and just see what I had in my prompts in the first place. I said understanding basic concept, in-depth exploration, step-by-step problem solving, connections and relationship. This is how you learn, right? Any subject, you initially do problem solving. Then you connect different fields. You use mind maps. You apply it in practical example. You go for advanced topics, some pitfalls and challenging areas, revision and memory aid, exam preparation. Any of you, who have children, definitely pass this on. I'll share this with you. You can pass it on to them. They can really help them in learning. So what I have done is I've given ChatGPT this entire thing, and now it is building something customized to all of you. So let's see what it is doing. Action Development Service, a non-profit based in Delhi, focuses on promoting sustainable livelihood and reducing poverty, established in 2006, etc., etc. Tier 1, implementing project. Tier 2, providing techno-managerial services. Oh, you do that? Techno-managerial? Wow, nice. Tier 3 is strengthening the enabling environment by influencing policy. Then, let's say, somebody joins you. Don't give them a manual anymore. Maybe just give them these prompts. Can you explain the fundamental concept of sustainable livelihood development in simple terms? What are the key terms and definition I need to know for financial inclusion and livelihood support? This literally, because it understands not just access, but the entire development sector as a whole. It is drawing the knowledge from the entire piece. And because I already gave it an example, which is what people make a mistake of. So people use ChatGPT and so I have your sheet. Most of you use ChatGPT, and most people use ChatGPT like Google. They go and ask questions. This is a reasoning engine. You can think of it like this is a really supremely intelligent being sitting there. You can't just ask it a simple question because it will give you a very simple answer. You ask it an elaborate question, it will give you an elaborate answer, right? It's literally like give and take. Garbage in, garbage out, intelligence in, intelligence out. So that's the one keyword you can have in your mind. Then let's say what Mohit says, in-depth exploration. Can you provide a detailed explanation of the inclusive value chain model and significance in livelihood promotion? How does the concept of community-based institution work? And can you give me a real-life example to illustrate it? Then step-by-step problem solving. Can you walk me through the step-by-step process of implementing a livelihood support project in rural area? So essentially, it has studied about everything which you do, and then it has converted them into a set of questions. And obviously, this is almost like we have these beej mantras, right? This is how prompts work. It's literally like a beej mantra, and it reveal itself. So let's say, just put any of them, right? So can you provide a detailed explanation of inclusive value chain? I will just, it is many of them, I'll just share all of it with you. So now the question is also there. It is a context because you are having a conversation in a context. You should always do that. And you know why you should do that? Why this context building? So while I was giving this prompt, I said, take up the role of a master prompt engineer. I did it because remember the slide where I showed that the entire world of data was used to create LLM. Moment you say this is your role, it goes to that specific set of databases which was relevant to this question. So it's more efficient that way. It's almost like, let's say when I'm with my daughter, I mentally am a dad, right? I speak silly. I can't be this AI consultant, You have to change your role each time. So exactly how you have to treat LLM also. You have to speak to it you have to ask it to take expert role in something. Okay, so it is now explaining inclusive value chain model. So some key components, steps involved, significance in livelihood promotion, some case study. Now you say, now give this to me in the form of a .ppt and a .doc. So you can also have a document you can sort of work with. Now this piece of it, this piece of AI which we are talking about, now this is doing the analyzing, right? In fact, there's a lot of under the hood stuff which is doing. I have, if I can show that. So this is this stuff which is going on, the presentation, slide banana and all of that. Now this is called AI agent, right? And the Silicon Valley has completely moved towards, nobody's talking about AI anymore. Everybody's talking about AI agents. That's the next phase of AI, right? What does the word agent mean? It comes from the word agency, ability to take decisions on its own, doing things on it. That's what we in social sector, we try to enable it, right? We want to give agency to people. So naturally, AI is also, everybody's trying to give agency to AI as well. So it is taking all these decisions. In fact, I'll give you one very interesting example of, and my first interaction with an AI agent was last year. They had called it baby AGI. So those of you who know about AGI and that very wild, crazy concept, I will come to that. It's a really wild concept. So I asked, it was a very simple tool. So I asked, I want India to be a developed country. So why don't you do one thing? You study all the countries in the world, how did they become a developed country? You study the developed ones and also the underdeveloped ones and the developing ones. Figure out the policy, figure out what worked well, what didn't go well. And then you give me a 5-year plan, which I can send to the Planning Commission of India. That was the instruction I gave it. Obviously, I didn't get the answer because if I did, I would be working with Mr. Modi right now. So what it did was, so beautifully it was thinking. So it asked me, okay, what I'll do is, first I'll study the set of countries in the Nordic area because they're the most developed. And I'll study their policy document. I said, okay, go ahead, do it. They said, now I'll study Brazil and Mexico. I said, why? I said, because it's very similar to India. Okay, cool, go ahead, do it. So it was doing all of that. It was asking me questions. It was doing all of that. In fact, that software has now been regulated. It's no longer available publicly. But that's what agent is. So it's thinking on its own. And that's the next version of AI which is coming. In fact, yesterday it got announced. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. That's very important information. Yes. Yeah, thank you. Yesterday this company called, and please forgive me, I tend to divert into this off streams, but it's important for you to know. So we have largely two kinds of AI, right? One is what we call the open source AI, and all of you should definitely know this. Maybe note this down because you want to do a lot of research on this. So one form of AI is called open source, and one form is the closed systems. Like you think of it like Apple and Android. This is easy way to understand it. So in open source, we have companies like Mistral. Very interestingly, there is one of the biggest open source AI company in the world is Meta, the makers of Facebook. Nobody knew that they will do this. And then closed source is obviously OpenAI. And then we have Anthropic, Google. They're all closed source AI. You don't know, how they're building the model. And it is very critical that we have policy advocacy for a lot of open source models to be built, because open source means you can test it around, you can play around with it, you can find what's right and wrong with it. So citizens have access. So very, very important that if let's say if we build some product for access, ideally we should do it in open source mode so that we have full control of it. At least we don't have to each time go and ask Microsoft to give us a permission. So good for you to know. So let's see what it has done now. I just showed you under the hood. It has given you a PPT here, and now it is giving you a docx here. Eventually, it will also go to a level of intelligence where it can literally give you very, very well constructed, structured documents where you don't have to really put a lot of thought. So let's see what it has done. Inclusive value chain, introduction to inclusive, key concept, steps involved, significance, case study example. It's very basic, very basic. I think the PPT would also be very basic. Oh, PPT we have not downloaded. But this is, again, this is very, very early phase of this. So this is the PPT which it has created. So these are the slides. It's very simple, basic slides. But this is because this is LLM, large language model. We are dealing with a model which is generally intelligent. Now I'll show you an example of a model because a lot of you had wanted to understand how to make PPTs and Excels and all that. So we'll move to that. So now I'm giving you an example of something which, let's say, a small group of engineers decided that we want to make this world-class presentation making tool. Because what is presentation all about? It's about taking a topic, building a story out of it, then putting some graphics to it, putting it into a slide. You are essentially telling a story through presentation, right? So this tool here, this is trained on top of an LLM. So the intelligence comes from in the form of an API. You can think of an API as like there's a large reservoir, and usse aapko pani nikalni hai. So you build a pipe and then you put it in your house in a tap. So that's an API. It's a pipe from a larger intelligence coming. Now this one is a tool which can help you generate presentation, website, document. Okay. You can create presentation out of your own document also. And because this is a closed loop, as in this is a product. So I don't think there's any issue per se when it comes to data privacy per se, because there's almost like, let's say you're using maybe some Adobe Photoshop sort of. I mean, are you really concerned about your data when you're using Adobe Photoshop? Not really. But nonetheless, I mean, it's always good to be concerned about, putting your data. That's a separate topic altogether. As an organization, you have to take a policy of, how do you really use these tools. But anyway, coming to the topic. So you can make a presentation on a website. Let's take example of a presentation. Let's say we make a 15-slide presentation and we make it on this topic itself, because this topic here was, it didn't do a lot of justice to this. So what we'll do is, so we'll take this. We'll take this as a topic. And here I'll have to also sort of give the right instruction, right? So you are an expert in the area of life now inclusive value chain, because you assume that if they are an expert in livelihood, they will know about inclusive value chain and its significance in livelihood promotion. Keep it concise and focused, because sometimes LLMs tend to just go overboard. One very powerful prompt which I learned very recently is tell me what you don't know. This is very powerful, and you can imagine why it is very powerful. Also, tell me what you don't know. Again, I'll take my example of my daughter. Now, imagine if I'm teaching her something, and if she was smart enough to tell me कि ये नहीं आता, then I would instantly teach her that, right? This is trouble with kids. They don't tell you what they don't know, right? They just assume they know everything. Here, if you can just ask it, then you will also know what are the areas where it is likely to hallucinate. And this works very well in ChatGPT, by the way. Yeah, ChatGPT or Cloud or Gemini, whatever you're using.
So make it visually aesthetic.
Yeah, we'll go for that. We'll go for that. So, and now this is something that I really love. So, what is that's done right now? So when the biggest problem with making a presentation is that you go to a blank slide and sort of, this blank slide is staring at you, every writer's dread, that black white paper, right? This one takes care of it in a very beautiful way, because it structures down. So here now I can start using the word co-intelligence. This is co-intelligence. You want to tell something, you want to build something, it is telling you this is the structure. Now you can come here and say, after introduction, I want maybe something else. So I'll just remove this altogether. This second line, I want something else. Could be anything that you want. You can literally engage with it, but at least you're not saying it's something which is blank. You're not wasting your time. So you got the structure here, the key component, then the importance, challenges. Let's put in something where, okay, they have put the policy part. And maybe you want this policy to be above. So you can just drag it up. So you can just play around with it the way you want to. And then you go continue. And here now your part comes, which is, you want to make it look pretty and professional and all of that. So you have all these options here, whatever color combination you choose. Let's say choose something which is simple and light, and then you ask it to generate. So it just added the two layer, right? One is the layer of the stacking of different topics together. So it's like literally brainstorming tool suddenly, right? And the second is this graphics part of it. So now it has started creating this presentation for you, and like it will make 15 slides, right? So yeah. And obviously there could be issues with the numbers and everything. We cannot be 100% sure about it. But the good part here is, while it is making this presentation, and you can edit everything, literally. Like you can edit the header, you can edit this, you can edit the photo. You say, I want, let's say, what are the options? Improve the writing, fix spelling, translate in some other language, make it longer, shorter, simplify it, be more specific, different visual layout, make this more visual, add an image, convert to timeline. Let's say we try to convert to timeline topic hai nahi, but just for the sake of example, you can do all sorts of modification to this. And yeah, so it got it into a timeline kind of a mode, right? You can again say, no, I don't want this. You want to make it more visual. You can make it more visual. And just through this one example, you can simply and all AI tools are like this only, right? You have one mother AI tool, which is ChatGPT, Llama. So you can have similar, I can show you a tool to make a song, make a photo, to make a video, to make an Excel sheet, all of that, right? But the fundamental foundational thing which you have to know is, because it's built with an intent, right? It's built with an intent to tell a story, to make a presentation. Now, why this is very crucial for you is you should build something which is, so well designed and so customized to one particular problem. In your case, it will be, let's say, what are your core missions of the organization? How can you have an LLM, an AI, which is part of Access, and it is able to be a co-intelligence for each one of you at Access, right? So after this, we'll talk about this whole idea of a AI assistant. Okay, but let's understand a few more things about this. So yeah, so it is able to give you all this, different kind of thing, and you can present it. You can take this out in the form of yeah. So all of this, you can export this in the form of a PDF, a PowerPoint, so that you can further work with it. You can edit it here itself, so that is also possible. Yeah. It's exporting. So meantime, I'll just go to the other piece here. Now look at this one. I mean, we had just gave it half the stuff. So world painting style explained by countries. So you have United States, pop art is super popular. France, so you have literally built a website by just asking it to, right? Japan mein ukiyo is there, Mexico mein this is there. And the part which I find most exciting is, imagine you are a kid and you want to really pursue art. Somewhere I think have this imagination that AI is just an enemy of art, which is exactly the opposite of how I see it. Like, can you have a more better friend of art, literally speaking? Because it can expose you, because one of the things with developing countries is, for example, we don't have access to libraries, right? How many of us have libraries at the beck and call of our house, and we can get any books the way our friends in US and Europe can get? We don't get that, right? So this one is just so powerful. You can get access to all kind of art forms, all kind of books, all kind of knowledge, all accessible to you in the way that you want. So let's say I want this. Can you explain moralism to me in Hindi? Or it can be Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam. It could be English for all that matters. Today kids are used to having this. So it's saying museum या भित्ति चित्रकला एक ऐसी कला शैली है जो बड़ी दीवारों पर बनाई जाती है, एंड उसका उसने ट्रांसलिटरेशन भी आपको बता दिया. इट वाज स्मार्ट इनफ टू अंडरस्टैंड कि शायद आपको हिंदी पढ़ने में मुश्किल आएगी, सो यू कैन रीड इट इन अ ट्रांसलेटेड फॉर्म आल्सो. Make this website in English because it's more comfortable to me, and make it more dynamic and colorful, such that a young person can find it cool. Yeah. So it's literally about, the only limitation then is your imagination, your demands, what you really want to build, right? So this is the kind of times, and this is not technology which is going to happen. It's here. It's literally, it's in fact free. You can ask, I think, some 5 questions. So initially, LLMs came, and it was like either there was till 6 months back, the method was that there will be a lesser intelligent version, which was a free GPT version, which was like maybe a school level kid intelligent, it's free. And then you have a college level kid who's available for 2,000 per month. Now that's gone. You have all the models for free. It's just that it's the time thing now. For 2,000, you can use it all day. For free, you can use it 5 times a day or 10 messages a day, right? So that's how it works now. Which means that literally it's all free and it's all accessible to us. Is there some issue here? Just a moment. There's some error. Okay, which is good, because when error comes, you can debug it. So just copy this and say.
Because of that, the last what you mentioned. Cool, the spelling was wrong.
Is there anything you like me to change? Spelling is fine. Spelling is fine.
It has an apostrophe.
Okay. Got it. But anyways, what I do in these cases is, whatever error is coming, I just copy paste the error and say, found these errors. Can you please fix it? And typically it is able to recognize that error. So that is one part of it. While it is fixing it, there is another form which I think is a very powerful way to use AI. Especially as you know that voice is the most popular way in which people use chats in India. WhatsApp or any other forms. Google search, voice is the most popular form. So this is like your good old chat GPT, and if you use the voice version of it, again it's a very, very powerful use case, which I sometimes find. Hi GPT on site Access Development Services. Can you greet them and tell them about some things about voice-based AI that's new, and search the internet for this. How many of you have used this before?
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to join you today for this workshop. Voice-based AI has seen some incredible advancements recently. One of the exciting areas is in natural language understanding, which allows AI to grasp and respond to the nuances of human speech more accurately. Voice assistants.
So you get an idea, right? This is conversational, and I will show you some updates which is coming on this. This will be the biggest development this year. We have emotion, expressions, almost similar to human. You can interrupt it, you can have a long-term interaction with it. I have some videos which I'll show you. Now, in the meantime, this is the website that it has made. Dunia bhar ki painting style, you click on United States, you can on Netherlands, and it's all in English. Dutch Golden Age आर्टिस्ट ने कहा नॉर्मल लाइफ को भी स्पेशल बनाते हैं. उन्होंने एवरीडे सीन्स को इतना रियलिस्टिक पेंट किया कि आप सोच लोगे असली है. फ्लावर्स, फूड, पार्टी, सब कुछ. वेरी सिंपल language which, so for me at least, I think it's breaking the barrier of entry to knowledge for everyone, because language is no longer a barrier. This entire access is no longer a barrier. Library is no longer a barrier, right? So I think it's very powerful from that perspective. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so I had initially thought of showing you some songs and stuff, but we'll do that. But I've done a lot of talking, so let me show you a few videos which will tell you what the frontier of looks like. So let's say, what the future of creativity looks like. This is all AI generated. So what's happening here is there's a tool called Midjourney, but you get image there and you put it in Runway and make it into a video. So you can pretty much imagine that going forward, the future of movie making and all that will be of this format. This is completely AI generated. We'll make it right now. We'll make something like this. So essentially, image on Midjourney, create one. We put it in a video model, sort of. So let's make one. So this is Midjourney. So there are a lot of tools which you can use for making images. In fact, you'll be surprised that you can make really, really good images in ChatGPT. You know that? You can make really nice images. So let's say, make an image of an evening scene in Old Delhi street with Hotkas. Acha. Hotkas village with and take up the role of a street photographer. So, and obviously you can ask it to make like a photo or a painting or whatever. So I'm keeping it very simple right now. And meantime, while it is generating, we'll see for Midjourney, because Midjourney is a community-based platform. So maybe somebody has already made something for Hotkas, so we can learn from that. This is also example of open source. Is this Hotkas? Okay, so let's take one. Let's take not. Okay, so let's figure out Hotkas market, no? Village. This is the one? No?
These two, a couple years, it looks like.
Okay. So, but the important thing is, let's assume this one. Yeah, this looks like pretty.
Do I think put Oscar's village?
Delhi.
So it also could be because nobody has done this before. So we could be the first people to do that. So let's say we'll do it like this. Let's take some simple street scenario. So a flea fest in India with lots of business and all that. So it's a prompt. Now the thing is, you don't need to learn this prompt. So you can just come here and click on prompt, and you say the street at Hoj Khas village in New Delhi. Lots of business and setup canopy stalls. So I'll say a lot of restaurants. No, that's what we have here.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. Stalls are, in fact, now you can't distinguish whether it's real or not. Young, good-looking people are shopping at a boutique store, etc., etc. Now you call it model 6.1. This is the latest model we'll be using, right? So we just give it a prompt. So what I'm largely trying to tell you is you can build on top of other people's work, which is the whole spirit of open source. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Somebody has made it. So let's say this one. So they made Hoj Khas, this one. So what you can do here is, and also this one, so ChatGPT right now is not that great. So what you can do is you can come here and let's say you want to edit it. Let's say you want to add a big moon here. So add a full moon. So, all that Photoshop, complicated editing, all. So I've asked it to add a. अच्छा जब तक वो देखते हैं अभी so we have put so many stoves and kitchens. Let's see what the other thing is cooking. So this one here. No, this is what we made right now. Yeah. This. And you see the faces here, not that great, right? So what you do is you come to this thing called upscale. Wait.
Tell me something. Is what I created. I need to understand. So is that devils and
Yeah, correct. Correct. Lots of faces which are Indian. So they are trained on billions of Indian faces, and they sort of it's called diffusion. If in school you read that, right? You put a drop of paint on a water, it diffuses. In the same way, it diffuses and comes up with something weird. In fact, if you this is still, I'll say still, you can say it's an AI generated image, but if you look at phone photos, if you use this prompt, you'll be surprised the photos which will come up. And do forgive me if some random stuff comes up. Phone photos, those are really scary because they look literally like you can't distinguish. So all of this is AI. All of this. Yeah, all of this. We can make one right now. Let's make one. Let's do one thing.
So similar, multiple photos of the similar.
So then let's do one thing. A phone photo of the phone photo means it has a realistic tinge to it. A phone photo of a Indian guy taking a selfie. Just keep it as simple as that and just put the latest model here. So 6.1 came last month. This is more advanced than the previous model. I have not even gone about much in making it a great prompt. It's a very simple prompt. And it's happening right in front of you. 15% done, 20% done, 25. It's pretty fast. I mean, right now the network is not that far, otherwise it would have already, So let's see. It's almost there now.
Okay, so similar photos of that four guys are similar.
नहीं similar नहीं सब अलग
Not same.
So
No, they're all different. Now, if you can now think about, Indian model photo shoot.
please can you put that?
So all of this.
West Bengal woman in a field in a padded field in West Bengal.
In field West.
So you can photo. Let's say
नहीं वर्कशॉप में भी क्वेश्चन है हम आप लोग
कैसे आप क्या करो कि दिस इज एआई और नो नेचुरल
उसके लिए है उसके लिए कॉलेज में जाते हैं ना AI यूज करते हैं
So these are all AI images, and let's make one from scratch so you know that it is real, right? So let's take one. I think.
Field West Bengal, it's not relevant. क्या आ रहा है?
So let's make a relevant one. Let's use this
क्या है? What
prompt.
is it doing?
So let's make a prompt.
so that is paper.
ट्रैक्टर
We can make one right now. We can literally make. What do you want? Tell me what you want me to make. I'll make one. क्या बनाना है so that it comes across as something which can be used at work. Sorry, come again.
A winter morning.
Good. And so that is what you want to do, but what's the learning piece here which you can take away? So somebody very carefully created a prompt with they said Sony Alpha mirror digital camera, this. Use that. You don't have to, you're not a photographer, right? The photography has done it for you. You use that to enhance the value. So and this is the larger piece of it, is the higher brain piece
You
of
can
it.
write the lens's name also. कौन सा lens वाला
But you will not do that. See, the thing is, we will move to
वो
a
क्या
world.
होना चाहिए?
हाँ तो
इतना तो चाहिए। अरे इतना तो चाहिए होगा
So
आपको।
let's go for the takeaway. What is the takeaway in this?
नहीं क्या बनाना है वही नहीं पता तो फिर बना।
फोन से जो फोटोग्राफी होती है उसके बारे में
नहीं ठीक है, that's fine. If you
But the
don't
big thing
give
is,
them the
with AI,
prompts, then what will they do? कुछ तो बोलना पड़ेगा। अब कंप्यूटर स्टैंडअलोन कंप्यूटर कुछ नहीं करता। कैलकुलेटर स्टैंडअलोन उसको तो देना पड़ेगा, फीडिंग तो करनी
and
पड़ेगा।
इसमें feeding कौन कर रहा है?
हाँ वही
That is the most important thing. So for
Exactly.
example, let's say what's your core area, sir?
financial inclusion.
Financial inclusion. So if you were to build something in financial inclusion, you will do it much better than me. Because I don't know the nuances of financial inclusion. This fellow, he has told you these things.
Yes.
But the good part of AI is publicly available. You can build on top of it, and that is the world we are heading towards. So for example, let's say I know about AI. I will be able to teach you about AI, and my learning will be there out there. You can just ask, we want to learn from Shabir, and my stuff will be there. And you'll be able to learn from it and build on top of it. So when we are saying, not really, I'll do better things. I'll build on top of that. So we all worry about the base, you don't worry about those little stuff. So we are moving from a scarcity society to an abundant society, which is what I said, what I'm trying to do in my organization, that you will enable abundance, because that's what the economy is moving towards. I mean, might sound controversial, but I don't think a lot of people will be, doing jobs the way that they do right now. And I'll give you some proof also of why I'm saying that. Livelihood will be very different going forward, because I think all of us will be freely sharing our expertise, our and I think society will value us for how much we are able to contribute, which I think was very difficult in the scarcity into capitalism wala combination, but abundance into capitalism is a very interesting field.
So what happens to people who do not have any expertise?
They have to help. In fact, yesterday I was in a conference where there were people from this organization called People Plus AI. It's an initiative by Nandan Nilekani, and you know what they were saying, that in India the problem is there are people for whom even buying a LIC or opening a bank account is a problem. They can't do that. So we'll have one unique layer in India which doesn't exist in other countries, where there will be facilitators who helps you access an AGI, which is the next phase of AI. And so it will be like, you empowering people in a very different format. So you will need that facilitator layer, at least in the initial, because the knowledge gap is too high, right? So let's do this first, because we have less time and a lot of stuff to do. So a woman in a agricultural field in Uttar Pradesh in India, in a tractor. You said morning light, cold winter morning. Well, then, yeah. एग्री। अच्छा एक और हैक बताऊं, एक और हैक बताता हूँ। सो एक तो हो गया कि हम बड़ा मेहनत से कुछ बना रहे हैं। नाउ व्हाट वी कैन डू इज, again there's a big hack, yeah, you guys will thank me for this later, it will save tons of your time. Come to cloud, say I want to make a mid journey image of a woman in a field driving a tractor while holding a mobile phone in her hand, and it's just go about it freely, don't think,
आने आप फोटोग्राफ
don't think. It's a winter morning.
सीधा ये ध्यान
Now
रखो।
give me a prompt, give me
अब तो काम खत्म हो गया।
give me a prompt which will make a yes. I'm losing focus, sorry. Making a photorealistic image, ठीक है? So I transferred the job to LLM कि आप कर दो मेरे लिए, because वो prompt अच्छे से लिख पाना, why do you need to bother when it can do much better? Acha, because I didn't see, that's why you should not distract me when I'm doing this. So I want you to help me with a prompt, because it's trained not to generate images. No, this LLM does. I want you to give me a prompt to make a mid-journey image, and then now it will give you the right answer. Here's the prompt. Thank you. So I do this, and then I use this then to create. Exactly. Why should you? ठीक है? Why should you bother?
फिर तालियां
ये किया, and इसका model. One more thing, guys. Hack tip. Remember this. So far, Midjourney का best model is version 6. Now, last couple of weeks back, 6.1 has come. So use that. So you'll get a much better quality of output. So use these little tricks and tips, right?
You can share the starting version, the first version.
हाँ, then.
What was differentiate between the what?
अच्छा, okay. Can do. So, okay, now it is making this image for you, and let's see this image, and then we'll go and make a. So song बनाना तो उसके पहले because I had said we'll start. आया नहीं आया नहीं आया. So remains a little bit of a bug. So now let's go to the other theme which we had, because अभी भी ना this अच्छा ये तो कुछ और ही बना दिया इसने. अच्छा, now we do this.
Here should be here comes the prompt. How effective or how
Because मैंने उसको इंडियन बोला नहीं था.
वहाँ
Sorry, what?
Is prompt में
You want to? We can. Yeah.
This was the last
yeah,
session of the biggest threat to the world is misinformation.
Hmm.
How do we discern between what we are generating and what kind of
देखिए ना हमने
But
लेकिन इंडिया नहीं हाँ
no, I will. Let me just first finish this one, but I will.
इंडियन हटा दिया था देखिए
नहीं, इसमें है.
Maybe
The paddy field or a wheat field or whatever in a rural setup.
But I'll tell you one thing. I'm guessing in my experience of making these images for many months, this is the first time I'm facing this issue. So I have no idea. It had to happen here. This is
it will be tough to implement AI.
Yeah,
The
could be
consultant-
science.
The consultant himself is facing the music.
Which one?
हाँ नहीं
बेचारी सभी भाई वो कर रहे हैं स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं तो then-
हाँ, मतलब this is the first time that I am also witnessing something like this.
थोड़ा सा टाइट लगेगा.
We are to some extent we are closing inching closer. We can modify this. We can see full sort of keep changing that, but अच्छा अब हम क्या करते हैं? Let's do one more exploration of this. No, let's do this. Tractor, woman, India. Correct. So now I can understand why this has happened. So I put this prompt here. Nobody has made this before. Because think about who is making this. These are youngsters sitting on Discord making these images. I don't think, it has ever happened that a group of social sector professionals have decided to put a woman on a tractor in mid-gen. So that is the problem. What? That it can, but see, this is the most premium model. This is like the top model, and this has the most sharpest data. So you can imagine that this is, and the more you do this, so I have done it like twice now. Now it learns better. Now, if I just give it a very, very simple prompt, Indian woman in a tractor field winter morning. Yeah. Now let's see what happens. So you have also, this is also conceptually important for you to know. This model grows and learns very quickly on itself. So let's say you create an Access AI, enterprise AI for Access, you will realize first month it will be dumb. 2 months down the line, it will be more intelligent than most of you. So that is also a big thing, which is how the child. We have trained it on. So we're getting better already. Already we are getting better. 3 IT questions. Yeah. Okay. Some silence now. We'll move to next set now, which is we'll make a good song and so that's a.
Today we'll get access and come.
We can do that. Before that, to answer your question, because your good name? Shamita. So we'll answer your question about the misinformation. So see, there are a lot of tools which are being developed which can detect AI. At the same time, there are tools which being built so that it cannot get detected by AI. It's a constant fight going on. So there are some of my friends who are working in cybersecurity, and it's literally nightmare for them. The way things are happening, and this is happening at a speed of a flood. It's like so much on a daily basis. This will be a very prominent problem in the next 2-3 years for sure. I mean, it will continue to be. I'm saying it will continue to be. You'll be very surprised. So there's this open source imaging platform called Stable Diffusion, right? One of the best platforms, UK-based company. They all allow all their models to be accessible to everyone. There is also a platform called Unstable Diffusion, which is a porn version of it. And you'll be surprised it's publicly available. Like I can open it right now. And I was so surprised that, how come government of India has not blocked it, right? So this thing, this deep fake and so many other implication of AI. So there's a thing called jailbreaking. Have you heard of it? So literally any model can be jailbroken, correct? Now imagine some random person sitting in any country. I'm not judge anyone, but some bad actor, and they're always bad actors. They decide to make another version of the Wuhan virus, right? If they have access, and we know such people exist, right? There were people who literally came to our parliament and started shooting there. There were people who literally, did do terrorism activities. So this thing will remain an issue. One of the reasons why I think alignment research is so important, policy piece is so important, because you cannot have AI labs developing all these frontier models. Yes, please.
I have a very big argument on the alignment. I think it makes it more human, makes it more sentient, and that's my problem with AI.
Yeah.
I don't want AI to be like me. I don't, because that is my basic issue. Why? AI is a machine, it's generated by humans. It starts replicating humans. What do we have to do next? So when you say, when you talk,
So I
understand the
This is
science,
smart.
but
So I can give you different versions.
Listen and things happening
I
at
mean,
the global level.
if you don't accept it, then you are
You'll be
out.
of.
So let me.
That is it. वही तो पूरे 5 साल बाद अगर if it every organization is using AI and Access is not, And this is a uniqueness. Sorry, it will not be a uniqueness for me. मतलब फिर
तो हम ये
कोई-
बोलेंगे ना uniqueness
So let's
ऐसे नहीं होता है। ऐसे नहीं होता है।
So let's invite a very
CTS
distinguished
type, yeah.
gentleman to answer this question. I will not answer. If you know him, he's Sal Khan, Khan Academy.
One of the debates I've been having with a lot of friends lately, knowledgeable friends who know about AI, et cetera. We've been getting into this classical debate about is a tool going to diminish human capability or expand human capability? I'm on the side of
That's the
expansion.
question.
That's where my cards are. That it's going to make us more creative in some weird way. It might actually make us write more because we're going to be more editors and we're going to be crafting more. But how do you think about that when people say, oh, wow, now people are just going to, one less thing that humans do, they're not going to develop their writing skills, they're not going to develop their creativity because they're just going to lean that much more on artificial intelligence for it. I mean, one debate that I've been having with a lot of friends lately, not with AI superpowers, we can intelligence for it.
So he's Greg Brockman. He's the president of OpenAI and one of the most advanced AI researchers around today.
I mean, I'm definitely with you, Sal. Like, I think that the net effect is going to be extremely positive. I think that we're all going to get these AI superpowers. We can achieve things we couldn't otherwise. The drudgery will drain away. All of those things I think are here, right? It's not on the horizon. But of course, it would be sticking your head in the sand and say that's the only effect, right? I think it's that's a net effect. I think it will be quite strong. But I think that there will be anecdotes at places where it's like people who loved a particular craft, and now that craft is commoditized, right? That there was a barrier to entry, but there's all these people whose now creativity can be unlocked, right? There's everyone, I just think about how many people have a smartphone, and so if you're able to get access to everyone with a smartphone to very powerful AI, and they can start creating in a way that before you'd have to buy a bunch of professional software and go to school and get a lot of training. You can see how that world is different, but in a lot of ways it's more positive, on that. But I think this change and being prepared for that, that's a scary thing. And I think that that's something we should kind of go into eyes wide open.
So there is a ton of such stuff. I mean, it's quite, so you can just look at this image, you'll get an idea of, what kind of development is going on. One way is saying that, we'll be concerned about it, what happens to us. The other is saying, how can we enhance and augment ourselves? Because essentially that's what it is. So this is Midjourney, the tool which I showed you where we made that lady on the tractor. 2 years back, it used to make images like that. Today, it makes images like this. That's the kind of evolution in 2 years. Now, imagine 5 years from now where this will be, right? The kind of efficiency and the AI labs will not stop the progress, right? Because this is commercially very viable, right? In fact, on commercial aspect, let's listen to Mustafa Sulaiman, who's the CEO of Microsoft AI. Also, used to run AI lab before.
The economics of information are about to radically change because we're going to reduce the cost of production of knowledge to zero marginal cost. And this is just a very difficult thing for people to intuit. But in 15 or 20 years' time, we will be producing new scientific cultural knowledge at almost zero marginal costs. It will be widely open sourced and available to everybody. And I think that is going to be, a true inflection point in the history of our species, because what are we collectively as an organism other than an intellectual production engine? We produce knowledge. Our science makes us better. And so what we really want in the world, in my opinion, are new engines that can turbocharge discovery and invention.
To those of you, this handle is my own Twitter handle. I do this documenting of this entire change in a video format because this is how people really understand. I make the small little clips because I think this narrative is very important. In fact, right now, I with some friends from Germany and UK, we are building a entity. We are calling it the World Singularity Collective, where the idea is how can you put a human face to this change which is about to come. All of you are most welcome to join it. We're starting it on Twitter, but we'll obviously have more platforms for it. The idea is for every country to be represented, because from technology labs, the narrative is always about technology, but we also have to figure out what it means for us, right? What it means in terms of economy. So this I was talking about, right? White collar job and blue collar job. We are all white collar workers. The cost of intelligence coming down. What does it mean for me? 2 years, 3 years down the line, will I have a job? If not, what form the job will be? It's a good time to start thinking, really asking deep questions around it, exploring, getting into policy debates around it. Uh, Again, something critical for you to listen that, what's really happening in the area of robotics.
The Optimus numbers, like they're really they're like so mind blowing that you're like, is this real? Because I actually think the market for humanoid robots is in excess of 10 billion units, like more than the number of humans. Because people will each want one, and there'll be others that are involved in industry. $20,000 times 10 billion. So 1 trillion, 200 trillion. It's a lot. It's like bananas numbers. So that's why I wonder what does money even mean at that point, So these things are, like I said, they're so profound that there will be recognized, assuming we do them, if we can actually do them, they will be recognized 100 years from now, maybe 1,000 years from now, as fundamental milestones in civilization. That's the level of significance we're talking about here. So should be held a couple of years.
And all of this, which is the last part, all of this next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, max. We are not talking about being very far away. So which means, in terms of preparedness, it's like the time is now to sort of really get mentally prepared for this. Again, one more clip to sort of, get you thinking on those lines.
It's not German our So you have to understand mostly.
He used to be the business CBO at Google some 3-4 years back.
People don't understand it's the speed of the cycle. So any company today that's doing a 5 years plan has no idea what they're doing, honestly, right? Because our world in 5 years is unrecognizable as compared to our world today. Take geopolitical, economic, technological, whether that's artificial intelligence or synthetic biology, global climate change. There is so much changing, right? And you'd be really, you definitely need a 5-year plan for your cash cow for your core business. Yeah, but if you want 5-year plan for innovation, good luck.
And this is something so we discussed this a little bit, right? That in this kind of a scenario, sector is this is an area where we see the flux will be the highest. At the same time, the impact will be much more than it was in earlier years. So I will just show you this one tweet here. Sorry, my flow got a little disrupted because of the earlier interruption here. So this gentleman here, called Ilya Sutskever, he was the chief scientist at OpenAI, one of the most respected AI engineers in the world. And he had written this, 2023, I read it, and that was one of the time, I really thought that, I should really start taking it seriously. He said, if you value intelligence above all other human qualities, you're going to have a bad time. Because frankly, today, the entire economy and the world exists on the fact that, some people have this intelligence and some people have maybe intelligence in numeracy, some people have intelligence in other areas, and we know that's the value is priced differently for them, right? For example, let's say if you are a investment banker sitting in Wall Street, you likely will be making more money because currently the economy values that so much more than the other skills. But that is going to be irrelevant pretty soon, which also means that, at least areas where a lot of emotion and heart is involved, say teaching, mental health, you will need to help the rest of the society to transition because you already have this inbuilt in your DNA. You know how to work with people. You know how to work with communities. I was in sales mein hota hai. It's how it works, right? It's a very aggressive culture. You just want to get things done. Everything is target. Everything is number. I know social sector doesn't work like that because, at least because of my IRMA background and because of my circle of friends who are from social sector, I know this is not how it works in social sector. This is I think, sensitive topic, which perhaps you might be the thought leaders into this, because the government will be needing. So I was recently in Global India AI Summit in Delhi, and lot of AI office, a lot of IAS and such civil servants were there. Those who look into different policy aspects, they were there. A lot of civil society leaders were there, and I think government is very keen on having a very strong public partnership with, what do you call it? The people-public partnership, no? Yeah, private public partnership. Yes. So that is, government is very keen, huge budget around this. I think, it will be good time. It might come across as sounding bizarre, but access, and so I work very closely with the Catalyst Group. I work with as an AI consultant for them. I'll highly recommend, Access, you should have an AI wing to not just the company, but everyday. So in livelihood, how do you bring in AI? In health, how do you bring in AI? In gender, how do you bring in AI? Because literally there is enough scope and enough need for this to happen right now. In fact, just 2 days back, somebody, from the transgender community, they reached out to me saying, we need your help to look into larger amount of policies, and we want to scan a large amount of information. And I can show you how you can do that. Because, the entire knowledge barrier, as I was telling you. So there's this amazing tool called Perplexity, which is like super powerful way of going to internet and asking for information and learning things. So, okay, I've used my quota for the day. They give you 5 free questions. I don't have a paid version of this. In fact, some senior from Innova, they were asking, they need a list of all the states, districts, sub-districts, and villages in India. And typically you'll find it's a tough thing to go and find on the internet. I can show you from my history, it will be there. Oh no, it should be in my mobile. Okay, no. Okay, so I can give you this example. Somebody, I was on Twitter and somebody from America asked me, what's really happening in Bangladesh. Even I don't know, because I hardly don't read news at all. So I asked, summarize what's happening in Bangladesh right now with Sheikh Hasina in simple words for international audience. So it gave me all these things, and then it answered the entire thing for me. In recent days, Bangladesh experienced significant political upheaval. What are the key events, current situation? And then what are the other questions you can ask on this topic? So what are the main reasons behind the protest? How was international community reacted to Hasina's resignation? What role did social media play? And if you're a researcher, you'll be delighted to know this. That means, let's say you go and copy this, you get this huge list of citations from where it is getting the data from. So I just copied this here. See, all these citations have come up. This is days of work in an instant. Reason why it is so powerful. And I think, as a research organization, you should just take a, full subscription to this so that you can really utilize it in very, very powerful ways. Look at the top 10 major research paper published in the area of climate change. This I did it. So I did an event in CSI last week. So they asked this question. So I'm just giving, and obviously we can do it right now as well, but I just don't have the paid version right now. So look at the top this. So it gave me this answer: key findings, water scarcity and changing rainfall pattern. And then every time it is saying something, it is also giving you a citation. So you can go and check whether this is right information or not, because right now hallucination is an issue with AI. So you should always check things, right? You cannot rely. Okay, sure. Yeah, it's a big one. So, okay. So hallucination is, it's a with you, professor, and you answer and you bluff. That's hallucination. You make up an answer. It sounds very intelligent and smart, which is what most of the academics but you don't know the answer for sure. So AI does that a lot right now, because AI is, as I'm telling you, it's in its teenage phase. So you have to be very careful with. In fact, that also brings me, and I really love this group, because you're making me jump all around my slide, which is great. This is a lovely audience to have. So I use this a lot, This is this amazing book called Co-Intelligence, written by this professor called Ethan Mollick. He teaches in Wharton. So this is the 4 golden rules, and I follow them. And you would have seen me follow it here. Always invite AI into everything. So even when I was writing a prompt for Midjourney, I said AI should do that. AI first, then me. So maintain human supervision, which is where your hallucination thing comes in. So first AI, then human, then you have to always treat it like a person. Because somewhere it is. Sorry for the sentience wala piece. So, but you have to treat it like a person because you have to tell it which expertise you want to bring on the table. And then also, this is what I've been continuously telling you, assume this is the worst. It will keep getting better. And I can tell you personally, I've been using AI for like literally 2 years plus now. It has gotten better, as in it's the ocean of difference between what it was and what it is now. So 4 golden rules, very, very important for you to know. And okay, let me quickly then. So we have 20 minutes, so we should make good use of those 20 minutes. Let me go back to the thing which I had. Yes, so a few hypotheses which I want you folks to work with. So, and the image is also, it's not a random image. I literally feel that this is how the world, how most cities in India will look like with robots and us, with augmented intelligence. Developed country will be like very easy, low hanging fruit kind of a goal. So one other thing, but you can work on is that it's a quote by William Gibson. He's a sci-fi writer. He said the future is already here, just not evenly distributed. And I can vouch for you this is the truth, because I hang out with people from Bay Area all the time on my different Discord groups and all. And the discussion that we're having there, some of the discussion I'm afraid to share with you right now, because you'll feel I'm completely gone in my head. You feel I'm mad, but it's happening. It is all there. Lot of change coming in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and the intensity of change. As we said, we are going into that I phase of the vertical part of the curve. You'll find a lot of changes coming. One of the responsibilities that we have is to evenly distribute this progress, this development which is coming. I mean, don't you think after knowing what you do, don't think every kid in India today should have a personalized teacher? And the technology is already here. Then who is working on the distribution piece of it? Ideally, people from the social sector, ideally, you should take a very active role in it. Do read this book by Sahil Khan called Brave New Words. So he talked about this concept of educated bravery, right? That while, you have a concern about authenticity, about, how do you really ensure the data is authentic or not, or what happens to the deepfakes and all. Correct.
And somebody interprets it as real.
Correct. So those concerns are there. So I'm saying, you deal with wicked problems all your life, right? You are a social sector professional. Your life is all about wicked problems.
That's why these questions are coming.
But it's a valid question. But the thing is, I'm saying, don't let that question inhibit you or stop you from, also looking at all the possibilities. Because then you're building a mental block for yourself. You're just limiting mindset you're getting into, which you should not. So Sahil Khan talks about this idea of educated bravery. So you're educated. All your questions are educated. But you also need to be brave, because others will not stop. Let's say China will not stop, Japan will not stop, US will not stop. So can you really afford for and it's not just you. Think about in India, even today, 90% plus population earns less than 10,000 rupees per month, right? That's the truth of our society. We in this room, the top 1% educated, that's huge privilege if you think about it, right? So what do you do with this privilege? So now is a good time to really use that privilege to create impact in ways that we could not have thought. This is literally like a social impact professional's dream come true, this technology in my book, keeping all the limitations in mind for sure. So the second hypothesis I want to leave you with is, can we create a 10x version of student?
Another issue when
Sure.
it comes to imaging. Why are these robots good? And when you look at them, majority of these robots.
Looks like human?
Yeah, no, human, women. And.
Woman? Oh.
Yeah, and why is it so?
I never thought of that.
Yeah. Who are making them? It's essentially men.
Yeah. But there are a lot of women in robotics, thankfully.
Then percentage is still.
Smaller. Yeah.
So, policy considering that is another issue when you look at these robots. Somebody has ever done an analysis.
But if I were to,
of them, because
so this is AI generated. But if I will show you
yeah. That is right. Because most of the decision making I know that.
But
Assistant, AI assistant. is
so
the-
let me think of it this way. So let me think of the,
मतलब आप बोलना चाहते हैं कि robots are women. More of the
they look like women, which is a valid concern. But for me, you know, the commercial models, thankfully, so this is Optimus. This is the actual robot, right? This is what will come in our house. The cost will be like, abhi jo cost aa rahi hai, it is like 16 to 17 lakh rupees per robot. That's the current cost. This is Optimus. Then you have Figure Robot. Figure Robots. Okay, so this is, and this was announced last week. Yeah, this one. They are largely genderless, right? One problem which you are definitely, and I agree with you, that when we make an image on Midjourney and stuff, there it looks like a lady for sure. But whatever the commercial product which will come to our home, they won't look like females. So yeah, coming to the hypothesis part, that you know, a 10x version of a student, 10x version of a professional, that could be a mandate we can have initially in our organization. That can we be like, you know, not saying that, you know, workload will for 10x, but can you be 10x more output that come from you? Maybe some which is for office, some is from some cause you want to be a part of. So it's a debate, it's a discussion which needs to happen both at the leadership level and at a level of, you know, at an open forum, in a town hall. And the third is, you know, while we are talking about AI will change the world, the cost, you have to go to the airport, no? Okay. So what cost is there? Because the energy wise, the cost is very high, right? Extremely high. In fact, they are saying that in US, they will need 30% of all the US energy only to train the models. So again, a very important space from a policy perspective. And just after this, there was some demos in mind. So let me give you one demo of, you know, something which can be really, really useful for you. So I talked about a personal assistant, right? So I think this is one way where people are not using AI in the right way. So I'll just tell you first what is a personal assistant, and I'll give you an example of how I'm using it. So for example, and there can be many variations of it. So this is a company which I run. It's called Everything Boho. I'm also, this is meant for the girls. I'm also building one for the boys. This is called Electric Dreams, which is after my Twitter handle. So this one, so we make all these products, right? So we make t-shirts, and then we make this bags, and then this posters. There's also a free ad for my company, there's notebooks and stuff. All of this is AI generated. And these are real products which can add or random. We get daily orders. Why am I showing you this? Right? This is literally a one-person company. This is, I take help from my wife, but this is largely, we don't have anybody else who's helping us build all of these products. So I'll tell you who is helping us. So this is something called a MyGPT. This will become a norm going forward. Literally all of you will have either a GPT or some, so ChatGPT has their own thing, and you can have it in other LLMs also. So this one, if you see, let me just show you. I'll show you many of them. So this is Everything Boho Virtual CEO. Okay, this is literally my virtual CEO. We do a lot of help. We take a lot of help from this particular personal assistant. So can some of you give me an idea what does a personal assistant mean to you? And any one of you, what is a personal assistant?
Take care of your schedules and then.
Who knows, as you said, who knows your context and then gives you answer. Correct, right? So one big hack for all of you, see, with normal ChatGPT, you have to go and each time give a context. Take up the role of a journalist, take up the role of engineer, then give me an answer. Here, what I have done is I have literally trained it. I'll show you how I've trained it also. And obviously all of you, I'll highly recommend all of you to do it as well. So I've given some instruction, which is Boho Assistant is a virtual assistant designed to help with the day-to-day operational and strategic tasks for Everything Boho, an e-commerce website, which is my company. It should provide insight, suggestion, support across various areas such as product management, marketing, customer service, logistics. It can help brainstorm ideas, analyze data, etc., etc. Then I've said that you can also take up all these different roles, right? All of this. And I've given it, what are my social media handles? So it can browse all of that. I have given it books on strategies. I've given it books on finance. I've given books on operation. It has read all of that. So it's sort of, intelligently doing that. And then now when you have a conversation, and this is the second part. Remember that woman with a tractor, which was very bad, then got good. Exactly the same thing happened here also. So today when I ask it, let's say, tell me about yourself. It really behaves like a human. Literally, sort of, I'm a boy assistant, a virtual assistant specifically designed for this. Here are some of the things which I can do. I'm not saying this is the best CEO in the world, but will it eventually become the best CEO in the world? Probably. You never know. Right? Now, why I'm telling you this? So you talked about my finance coach, right? Let me show you my finance coach. So this is Shabir's finance coach. So obviously, personal finance investing is super crucial. So I build something so that each time I don't have to मुझे index fund बहुत पसंद. I really like it. Then I don't like trading, but I like value stocks. यहाँ पे पैसे डाल के बहुत time के लिए छोड़ दो. The Warren Buffett style of investing. So I have told, and you know how you build it. So let's take an example, in fact. So this is a couple of examples. In fact, I told you I work for Catalyst Group, right? So Shiv, you know what I did? I scraped everything Shiv had ever said on the internet. I scraped it. How I scraped it? I asked Ellen to give me the code. Write a code for me. I know a bit of programming and coding. I'm not a big time coder, but I'm like somewhere midway there, right? So it built an entire code for me. I used that code to scrape all the interviews, all the documents, all the website where Shiv had said anything. I'll show you that also. So then I went ahead and created this instruction, and just look at how much knowledge I have given it. Obviously, I can give more. So this one, online video, सारे online video का सारा text मैंने एक document में करा. This was manual, but the text came through the coding piece. Then so many documents which are part of his organization where he has interview and all of that. करके now it behaves like Shiv. So if you want to give it a try, so let's say I asked it, how can we improve health outcome for vulnerable populations? It will answer like Shiv based on his podcast interviews. You can do this for Axis. You can do this for you. And obviously, just as you can see, so for example, Kuntal is my wife. So she has a PA, which is just an AI, right? So I'll give one more example. So I went to this private equity firm where they wanted that, they have some policy documents where they wanted that they should just be able to talk to it rather than, reading it. So let's see what I did with it. I went similar to, I just updated all the policy, whistleblower policy, sexual harassment policy, and code and ethics. So if you can just come here and by the way, you can share it in different formats. So this one is only for me because I don't want others to access. I can create a link. I can also create it in a store. So let's say you have created something which is very useful for the entire world, put it in a store so others can also use it, right? I'll give you one example of something which I think is very useful for the entire world, and I put it in a store, and I hope it becomes a very popular app. It's called the Visual Bhagavad Gita. Here, so I'll say choose an art form first. So it will give me some answer. So Russian stained glass, classic oil painting, Japanese, etc., etc. Let's say मेरे को अभी third वाला चाहिए, Japanese art मुझे चाहिए, right? So I have pre-trained it. He behave like this. So what it does is, let's see, it's doing something. Big point being that all of you, based on your own personal customized needs, you can create such AI assistants for yourself, for your organization. So see, what it's done is, it's created this beautiful image from the Bhagavad Gita, and it's a visual Bhagavad Gita. So the quote is also there. So it says, I'm ever present to those who have realized me in every creature, seeing all life. It's a quote from the Bhagavad Gita with the chapter and verse. Now, if I say, can you make another verse? I'll say yes. So you see, I'm not doing much work because I have already done my work. मैंने assistant hire कर लिया, हर बार मुझे नहीं बताना पड़ेगा उसको. Which is a next layer of usage of AI, which all of you should get into. इसके बाद एक और layer आएगा. This is assistant. Then I talked about agents. which will be like supremely intelligent. So again, it can go on and do that. So in that next layer, which will come. So here is a small video clip to sort of explain to you what that next layer of AI will look like. Just a moment. Yeah. Now be prepared to be shocked. Yeah. And this is a technology which is available in some, so it's alpha release. Some people have got it, some have not. It's like a couple of months, everybody will get it. So I'm not talking about a very futuristic technology.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm fine. I'm trying to practice my French. Can you help me with that?
Bien sûr. How would you like to practice your French today?
Am I saying this word correctly? Croissant.
Pretty close. Try emphasizing the nasal sound at the end a bit more, like croissant. How's that feel?
Croissant.
That's it. You nailed it. Anything else you want to try saying?
How about baguette?
That's a good one. It's pronounced almost like it looks, baguette, with a little emphasis on the second syllable. Give it a shot.
Baguette.
Parfait. You're getting the hang of this.
Yeah, you get an
Anything
idea,
else
right?
French related on your mind?
What's really happening? Can you imagine if this kind of a tutor you have? And by the way, it has camera. It's not just audio, it's camera. So let's see.
No, I think that's it. But any other kind of constructive?
The context is this is a person who's preparing for a technical interview. And AI is working as the coach. And AI can see him, his body language expression. What's happening.
Just a couple things too. First, in your answers, try to weave in specific examples that highlight your skills and achievements, especially those relevant to the job you're applying for. This will make your responses more memorable and impactful. Second, be concise but thorough. It's a balancing act, but the goal is to give enough detail to be informative without overloading the interviewer with information.
I see. Anything about my body language? Was my delivery okay?
Your body language was generally positive and engaging. You maintained good eye contact and seemed attentive, which is great. One note though, try to avoid touching your face too much. It can be distracting and might give off signs of nervousness. Overall, you came across as thoughtful and focused, which is exactly what you want.
Okay, I think I'm ready. Thank you.
The rare woman in tech, in STEM, Meera Murthy, CTO of OpenAI.
Yes. One of the things I'm very excited about is having high quality and free education available everywhere in some remote village, really in middle of nowhere. For me, education was very important. Personally, it was everything. It really changed my life. And I can only imagine, today we have so many tools available. So if you have electricity and internet, a lot of these tools are available. But still, most people are in classrooms with one teacher, 50 students and so on, and everyone gets taught the same thing. Like imagine if education is catered to the way that you think, to your cultural norms, and to your specific interests. That could be extremely powerful in extending the level of knowledge and creativity. And it can, even if you consider like learning how to learn, that kind of happens very late in life, maybe college, maybe even later. And that is such a fundamental thing. What if we were able to really grasp this and get this, really learn how we learn at much younger age? I think that is very powerful, and it can push human knowledge, and pushing human knowledge can push the entire civilization.
So I mean that should give an idea. Maybe this is just a couple of more videos I'll show you, and then you can obviously this doesn't end here. You just join the community and frankly speaking, I have just showed you 1 or 2% of what's there, at least in the tools which are available today. So join the community, and we can keep learning. This is an extended thing. I mean, this just goes well beyond my duty here as a, let's say, a teacher to show certain things to you. That my duty really is to sort of really take you to that curve where you have passed the threshold and you are all power user of AI, because it can really then expand and spread to the rest of India. So just a couple more videos and then we can take a few questions and close. So why I'm showing this, unusual video of Mr. Khan is here is, I've used this clip as a personal motivator for me for years. Like I literally have this clip in my YouTube channel, and which sort of I keep watching it every week. Suddenly, after AI came in, I just realized this actually can be true for everyone. So
the whole being is your tool. So it's, it becomes a kind of a responsibility, or a kind of, you should enjoy taking care of yourself.
Take care of your soul.
Soul also, that's what it is, to enrich your soul through your job. It has to have communication both ways. Otherwise, you're doing injustice to your job. Yeah, you're killing a possibility.
That's lovely.
Peacefully. So the whole being is your tool.
What I meant here was that, you have all these powerful tools, this developing models, this layer of intelligence being added on and on to you. So, I mean, can we now think of, utilizing these models to sort of pivot people towards really plugging them into the kind of job that they should do? Because it had been a problem for us. I mean, for the longest time, the problem is, getting the aptitude and people doing what they really should do. Money always remained a big constraint. We are talking about this world, that this is, with technologies, tools, this is something. It is actually possible to imagine, and this will be the last clip, which is about the future of work. This Sam Altman, what is his thought on how work will look like in the future?
There will be classes of jobs that totally go away. There will be classes of jobs where you have to change what you do a lot. There will be classes of jobs where the productivity, compensation, whatever you want to talk about, whatever measure, goes up by like a giant factor. There will be things that feel like jobs to the people of the future that to us today look like a complete indulgence and a waste of time, as what many of us do today would look like to people from hundreds of years ago. I think as long as you believe that humans very deeply want to create and be useful and feel like they're making like relative differential progress, all of which are things I would bet on hard. We're not
Yes, and while Sam was saying this, quickly got reminded that you had time, but that's the last demo. So this is the somehow the internet, like even internet is telling you should I should stop. It's not working now, but quickly. So I am just uploading this Excel sheet here, and this is obviously public data per session. Obviously, again, that policy thing discussion has to be had. What I'll tell is, and there are tools apart from ChatGPT, but I'm showing ChatGPT because you're familiar with it. You say take up the rather than taking up the role, I'll give you even better option. Wait, even better than this. So you go to some tools which ChatGPT has built, called DALL-E, Hot Mode, Writing. Go to data analyst and use that. You don't even have to give the context first. So here you upload the tool, upload the Excel sheet. This is Excel sheet which came from you. And then I'll say, analyze this to and tell me framework which you can provide to me first, and then we go after them one by one. So what it will do is it will pull all your data. It will look into all your data almost in the way a data scientist or a data analyst does, and then it will analyze things and tell you what are the different stuff that it can do with it. So potential insights. Wait. Go with maybe correlation. Go with number 6, let's say. So what it will do now is now it will start analyzing. So this is the under the hood piece which it is doing. It can really read Excel data and sort of analyze. So it is pulled up that piece of data and there's some numeric analysis there. And just I'm touching the surface here. You can just go as deep as you want. How many people said this? How many people said that? Make graphs of it. Can you put that as a pie chart? So all of that, I mean, whatever you can do in data analysis, but use this specific tool called Data Analyst. And there is another one called Julius.ai, which is also very powerful for this data analysis. But it's called literally just a gamma thana presentation ke liye. This is only for data analysis. So definitely use that. And lastly, definitely use this one. There's an AI for that. It's a website where you can see there is some 14,000 AI tools are there. You can just come here and say you want a tool for maybe data analysis, and you can get all this tools very quickly. It's like a directory of tools. Yeah, so you can get all, and we tell you that paid hai, free hai, kya hai. You can get access to all of that. It's called but I'll tell you what all I'll share with you after the session. So I will share you this list, yeah, and also share you how the best practices, there's golden rules. This you can. It's a voluntary choice. Whether you want, you can follow me on LinkedIn because I keep sharing a lot of such posts there. And we have this community now, some 2,000 people here. There are different cohorts to it. So we have professionals, teachers, students, all of that. So you can choose to join. We also do a challenge. So I keep giving challenges to people. Aaj ye karo, ye karo, ye karo, because you learn by doing things. It's completely free. It's an open source community. You can join there, and that's one. Other is, so if you're interested, we can form a group for access. And I mean, if you would have questions and all, you can sort of, keep asking questions, because it also tells me what you are interested in knowing. It helps me learn and prepare for my other sessions. And the last request would be if, all who's could, this is done, this is fully done. So we can all get together for a photo and post it on social media so that others know that I'm doing this, and I get to do it with other social enterprises as well. And please also help me in doing that, because the marketing piece is very important. So AI helps, but humans still lead marketing. So help me with that. But that's from me. Any question, anything, let me. But I love the session, because there were a lot of questions during the session, which is really, really amazing. Thank you so much for being a very nice audience. Thank you.
So when we talk about free resources available, but what are the resources which are like